To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So today I got to slow down and get back to doing my regular chores. I've been busy cutting firewood for about 2 weeks straight now, trying to get ready for this winter. As I told you a few weeks ago, in May, it got down to 32 degrees. And it really worried me. I wasn't going to be ready for this winter. So we went out and bought a wood stove underneath this tarp here. And I built a heat exchanger. It took about 2 weeks to build the heat exchanger. And we got enough time to test it out. We tested it out for 5 days. So it's an old Franklin wood stove. And I surrounded the Franklin wood stove with concrete blocks. And so what the concrete blocks do is capture the heat. Now I have the chimney running right here out of the wood stove. So the smoke comes out of there. I've sealed up all the cracks and crevices with furnace cement, fireplace mortar, sealed up all the cracks and crevices. I put gasket material around here with replacement gasketing, and it comes with a sealant. And then I immediately got a chainsaw and I started cutting firewood because I want to be ready. I mean, I feel like winter's going to be here tomorrow. And so I've gotten really obsessed with it. I've got a ton of deadfalls sitting down there that I can just go down and cut anytime I need. It's already dried and cured and everything's perfect about it. So what you see, starting from about right here, all the way back here, is I have 2 rows. I'm sure you can see 2 rows of cured firewood, ready to go. Then I have a quarter of a cord of wet stuff that needs to be cured until at least January. And then I got this tree back here that I'm letting dry out a little bit more. Carolyn told me that if you let the leaves dry out, that it helps the tree cure faster. So it took me about 2 weeks to get the wood stove in a place where I felt like I could use it. And then I've spent the last 2 weeks doing the firewood. Well, everything else has been neglected. Even so much as filtering water. I really haven't spent a lot of time filtering water. I did it during the rainy days. So anytime the weather doesn't cooperate and I can't cut firewood, I've been doing a little hit and miss on my regular chores. You know, I gotta fill the IBC tank. But I really need to start focusing on the chores again and getting back to just regular life. I was actually so concerned about firewood that I cut grass when it was raining because I didn't want to lose out on a chance to be able to cut firewood on a dry day. So today it's Sunday and I'm just going to slow down on the firewood. I'm going to catch up on the chores. Yesterday I noticed that one of my connections on my solar panels had come loose, and I always check the solar panels. Check it a few times a week. And I hadn't checked it in a couple weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks now. I noticed that when I was running the air conditioner yesterday, I wasn't getting any amperage out of it, none. So I went over there and checked it. Sure enough, several of the solar panels had come disconnected. Just because, you know, I moved the wire around so much, it gets jostled loose. It just happens. I need to get to town, you know, silly things. And I got to get my gas cans filled up. We've ran out of propane in one of the tanks. I need to get that exchanged, and I just haven't. So it makes me feel like I'm being lazy, even though I've been just killing myself day after day after day. I mean, I even hurt my back. I think I just, you know, pulled a muscle in it. And I refuse to stop to really let it heal. So I put myself on light and limited duty is what I did. I just went out with the log splitter and started splitting wood. You know, just moving real slow and easy. I'm just obsessed with this winter. I just want to make sure I'm ready for winter. Like I said earlier, this morning I'm going to filter some water with my Berkey water filtration system. I talk about the Berkey a lot. I won't cover it very much, but this is one of the best water filtration systems there are. And with our well still having some issues, I need to put a sleeve down into the well because the well casing has a crack in it. And I think it's leaking some groundwater. So it gets dirty occasionally still. Not near as much as it used to because I concreted the floor and I put up a little stanchion with a coffee can, and it helped out a lot, but it still gets a little dirty on heavy rains. the Berkey is always going to be used. I use the Berkey for years now. I highly recommend it. I don't sell Berkeys. I'm not a sponsor of Berkey, but they're really handy to have. I noticed though that during the pandemic, the place I buy Berkey was sold out. Even on the damaged goods, they have a damaged goods section where factory defects, you know, there's a dent in it or something. Those were even sold out. So they're really popular right now. The Berkey filtration system filters out everything. It can't filter out all viruses, so we still put chlorine in our water. So what I do is when I fill the IBC tank, I put chlorine in it. That keeps the water from getting algae. It kills any of the viruses that the Berkey can't get rid of. When we talk about viruses, we're talking about things like hepatitis, things that are in human waste. So, and there's ways you can get rid of it. Like I said, chlorine, or you can boil it. Some people use iodine. But the thing is if I use chlorine, then the Berkey takes out the chlorine. Gotta have the Berkey. I love the Berkey. I will always have the Berkey. One of the other things I want to get done is I want to get this thing ready for winter too. I know, obsession with the winter. I'm just obsessed with winter. I'm going to put insulation around it, and I'm just going to put styrofoam insulation. And I've talked about this before. I'm not going to buy straw bales. We have a feral cat runs around here. We've been feeding it because we want it around here. And it's a male. He's real timid. He doesn't want to come around. But we've been feeding him hot dogs, so he'll stay around here. And every morning we see him, every evening we see him. Well, he's already caught a few mice. We saw a dead mouse here just a little while ago. I guess he doesn't want to eat them. That's fine as long as he catches them. I'm fine with that. But to use straw bales around this, it's just going to attract more mice. So we're going to put styrofoam around it, and we're just going to use little styrofoam sheets like this one here. And they're real cheap. You get them real cheap, and I only need like 4 sheets. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing as I did with my heat exchanger. I have a piece of ventilation that runs from the heat exchanger into the camper right here. It's covered up with tarp right now. And then I have a return that comes back from the camper back into the heat exchanger. Well, I'm going to do the same thing with the water. I'm going to run another pipe right from this spot right here. And that can get hot enough to actually cook your coffee. Anyway, so I'm going to run a pipe from here to the IBC tank, just like I did here. But I don't want to spend a lot of money on it because I don't need this thing to get very hot. I don't need to keep it at 70 degrees. I need to keep it above 32. And I keep thinking, well, maybe I'll just buy some PVC. And I looked up PVC, and it would melt at some of the temperatures that thing can get at. I know that it can get to 212 degrees, and PVC melts at a lower temperature than that. So that meant I was going to have to buy metal, which means I'm going to have to spend a lot of money. So wasn't excited about that either. Then out of the blue one day, I remembered this black pipe. We got tons of this black pipe laying around here. We use this black pipe for our well, but there's only a little bit of that left. We use most of our pipe, which is right here. But there is tons of black pipe laying around here that was here before we got here. And it's a little bit bigger too. Just about the right size for what I want to do with the heat exchanger going to the IBC tank. So I Googled it. That doesn't melt until about 300 and some odd degrees. And that saves me all kinds of money. So I'm really excited that I thought of that. And Carolyn's garden is doing really well. We had 5 tomato plants. And you can see right here, they're still a little small. Something got one of them, probably a rabbit, right here. So we got 4 tomato plants. We'll see how well those do. We got beans over here. This one here isn't looking all that good. Don't know what's wrong with it. It just yesterday just decided not to do well. And then I think she's got squash or cucumbers. Can't remember, maybe both. But I do want to talk about Carolyn again. I've said this a lot in my videos. Everybody wants Carolyn on camera. And there's a lot of people who don't believe she exists. Now, a few days ago, a few weeks ago, she was on camera. She was cleaning up the area around the trailer where we're building our tiny house. Everybody was happy to see her. But now they want to see her more. And then, of course, those who didn't see her still think she's fake. When I started the YouTube channel, I asked Carolyn if I could start a YouTube channel. She said, oh, yeah, that'd be great. But she says, I don't want to be on camera. You know, she has social anxiety. And so being on camera is kind of frightening to her because, you know, it's gonna go out to, 5, 10,000 people seeing her. It's got to be very stressful for her. Well, In the beginning, she did get on a few of them. I remember one of them she was in exclusively setting up the pop-up camper, showing everybody she could set it up by herself. She's appeared a few more times. Of course, you know, all the trolls did exactly what her fears were and just bashed her to death. And so she got off camera. I talk about her because she's an important person in my life, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't exist. And the thing I find so funny about the people who think she doesn't exist is, do you realize how hard of a story that is to maintain? Why would I want to maintain about a person that doesn't exist? It doesn't make any sense. It would be a lot easier sometimes just not to even discuss it, because I always have to bring her up in these videos talking about how she does exist. She's really a person. So hope that answers your questions on that. Thanks for watching.